Peace be with you. So today I'm in Missouri, and I wanted to make a short video about Chapter Baqara, or Surah Baqara, which is a chapter called Cow, and talk about three types of people. So right at the beginning of this chapter, God defines three types of people, and in relation to religion, that's all there is. So we have to pretty much identify ourselves in which group we belong. So God says, in this book, there is no doubt in it, is a guide for those who are careful of their duty, muttaqeen, those who believe in the unseen and keep up prayer and give out of what we have given them, and those who believe in what has been revealed to you and what has been revealed before you, and they are certain in the hereafter. These are on the right course from their Lord, and these will be successful. So these few verses describe those who are believers, basically, and this book is a guide for them. So this basically insinuates that this book, these people follow this book, and also gives a few specifics for them. They are charitable and they observe prayer. So whoever hopes to be a real Muslim, in the real sense of the word, meaning obedience to God, they have to understand these few verses. And not only that, they believe in the unseen, and they believe in what has been revealed to Prophet Muhammad, which is the Quran, and what has been revealed before him, right? So all those people before him in Arabic were Muslims. Islam is not something Prophet Muhammad brought. Islam is something God brought. Islam is just an Arabic term for a revelation given to Arabs, right? People got this same revelation before in Aramaic and Hebrew and whatever other languages were spoken back then, right? We just use the term Islam now because it is the latest one, but they were all Muslims. So in any case, that's what God says for the believers. Then disbelievers are defined, and it says, and those who disbelieve, whether you warn them or not, they will not believe. God has set a seal over their hearts and their hearing, and there is a covering over their eyes, and for them is a great punishment. So basically, it says those who disbelieve, no matter what you do, they will not believe. So you can't convince people to believe, right? And, you know, God has put a seal over them, so they can't understand your arguments. They can't hear you. They can't see what you're saying, right? They can't understand it. And I used to be an atheist, and I can vouch for those words, right? It doesn't matter who came to me with any argument. The fact that I was an atheist, there's nothing people could do. There's nothing people could do. They could not convince me. Only one day I woke up and God changed my heart, and I read this scripture and I realized how stupid I was, how uninformed I was, and how rash to judgment I was. And then I got on this road, and I'm trying to be a Muslim, right? I'm trying to be those. So I found myself in these verses for disbelievers. I was like, okay, that's me, right? God defines me right at the beginning. So now I'm trying to be the first set of the people, right? Where God says, you know, in this book, there's no doubt in it is a guide for those who are careful of their duty, those who believe in the unseen and keep up prayer and give out of what we have given them, and those who believe in what has been revealed to you and what has been revealed before you, and they are certain of the hereafter. These are on the right course from their Lord, and these will be successful. So that's who I'm trying to be right now, right? Except for that, that's hard. That's really hard, you know. Most people, in my personal experience, and I don't even know if I fall into the next category, but most people in my personal experience do, and that's tragic, right? Then God describes basically the hypocrites, and it says, and among people are those who say we believe in God in the last day, but they are not at all believers. They seek to deceive God and those who believe, but they deceive only themselves while they do not perceive. There is a disease in their hearts, and God has increased their disease, and they will have a painful punishment because they lied. And when they are told, do not spread corruption in the earth, they say, but we are the ones setting things right. But they are the corrupters, but they do not perceive. And when they are told, believe as the people believe, they say, shall we believe as the fools believe? But they are the fools, but they do not know. And when they meet those who believe, they say, we believe. But when they are alone with their devils, they say, surely we are with you. We were only mocking. God will pay them back for their mockery, and he leaves them alone in their rebellion, blindly wandering on. These are they who buy error for guidance, and their trade will bring them no gain, nor are they followers of the right direction. Their example is like an example of the one who kindled a fire, and when it illuminated all around him, God took away their light so they cannot see. Deaf, dumb, and blind, so they will not turn back. So these last verses describe hypocrites, right? People who claim to believe in God but act as if they don't. And it is our responsibility not to be these people, but unfortunately most of us are. Like I said, you can never be sure where you belong, and that's the tricky part, right? I believe that I'm a believer. I believe that I do everything, but there's so often that I catch myself having deficiencies, right? I can't control my anger. I can't control my attitude. I snap at my parents. Whatever. There's so many things that can go wrong, right? So this requires constant reflection. These are some of the most important verses in the Quran, right? So what is this? What do these verses say about these people? So there are people who say we believe in God in the last day, but they don't believe. They don't really believe. They might even believe that they believe, but they don't believe, right? And God says, and they seek to. So some of them knowingly do this, right? They seek to deceive God and those who believe, but they only deceive themselves, right? They're only lying to themselves, right? So there are people walking around saying we're Muslims, and there are even people who are walking around saying we're non-practicing Muslims. They're deceiving themselves. They're not Muslims. They are not Muslims. And this is what God is talking about here. And then when they are told, do not be corrupters, basically, they say, but we're setting things straight. We're peacemakers, right? And there are mosques now, right, who are making, for example, there's a mosque in Washington, D.C. that now says that homosexuality is halal, right? There are mosques who say that prostitution is halal. Not mosques, but preachers, right? They call it temporary marriage. There are, in many mosques I go to, I look around and I see fornicators all in mosques, right? And when you talk about these things, when you maybe argue that these people should get the punishment prescribed by God, for example, for the fornicators, 100 lashes and so on, or these people who say now that homosexuality is halal or allowed or illegal, they feel that they're following a higher path, but they are taking whims of society to be higher than God, right? So I'll use this, for example, this mosque in Washington, D.C., where it says homosexuality is halal, right? They feel like they're enlightened, but they are absolutely corrupt. That's got nothing to do with Islam. You cannot be a fornicator or a homosexual and be a Muslim. You can be those things. You're free to be them. The people in Lot were free to be those things, but they were not Muslims, right? God does not look favorably upon people like that. And the fact that you have other Muslims, people who call themselves Muslims, saying that this is halal, this is allowed, these people are the corruptors. And even though they feel they're on a higher moral path, that they're trying to create equality among people, they are the corruptors, but they can't see that anymore. They cannot see that anymore. They are blind. And it's unfortunate that that's how things are, right? So these people who are changing the laws of God for whatever reason, and just to say one more thing since I'm at this, right? These things that God has decreed, and that we're now coming up with these new societies, and we're calling it enlightenment. All these behaviors were there before. That's why they're mentioned in the scripture: drugs, sexual immorality, homosexuality, whatever else, even killing of children. All of it already existed. It is exactly why the prophets were sent, exactly why, and now we are calling that progress, which in fact regress. We are regressing to the state of societies that existed when scriptures were revealed. If you look at the Bible, it's the same thing. The societies are regressing, they're not progressing. So if you are a Muslim, if you feel that you are a Muslim, and you don't understand what it all means, you have to find yourself in the Quran. Basically, you have to read the Quran, and this is just one example. There are other places where God defines us by our behavior, and you have to find yourself in there and be real with yourself. Otherwise, you are going to be one of those people who walks around your whole life thinking that you're a Muslim and thinking that you're going to get some reward in the hereafter, whereas you are destined for the hellfire, right? Maybe at some point in your life you saw that this was the truth. You were like, boom, it's light. I can see. But then because of the disobedience and justifying behaviors that are hated by God, all of a sudden God took away your light, and now you can't even see. You cannot see that you are so far gone that your destiny is hell, but you feel that you're on the right path. So it's a very dangerous state to be in. So this third state it would be easiest described by the word munafiq, which is a hypocrite, and this is the worst state to be in. So this is even worse than being a disbeliever. So that's all I wanted to say. So I think it's very important that everybody reads the Quran and finds themselves in it.